Hey guys, it's Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy. I am the owner of the Maxfield Report, and here is our market recap for the week ending December the 12th. This week started out with Packers offer list. Just a little bit more populated than the past week. There were instances where some of the Packers had added a selection or two. There's also isolated incidents where there were a few more loads offered than last week, and that just ties into what I've been telling you all, that they have not been clearing their production each week. Although they still possess a decent sold forward position, I still believe that it's not quite as strong as it was in regards to a month ago. As far as interest this past week, with asking prices higher, that caught a lot of buyers off guard. A lot of sticker shock going on. A lot of folks, including myself, were thinking last week, prices were bumping up against that ceiling, and then to see prices go up, buyers did their best trying to bid prices at last week's trading level, even lower than last week's trading level. Packers would hear nothing of it, countered all bids at their asking prices. End of the day, there was some business concluded. Prices were steady-ish to slightly firmer. Only those who really needed to buy something were stepping up and paying the asking price of the Packer. But end of the day, although they were able to get a little bit more money, they again did not clear everything that they produced last week. And we'll come back to that here in just a minute as to what the knock was. On the Cal side, they may be even firmer position than the Packers. They came out offer list basically unchanged. They too tried to push prices higher. A similar story in the big Packer market. Buyers, they got sticker shock. They're trying to understand why the prices continue to go higher. They see the export report, and we'll talk about that in a minute, isn't really showing that there's been a tremendous amount of interest out there. But end of the day, the processors countered bids, full asking prices. Those who needed to buy had no choice but to step up and follow, and that allowed the processors to tack on some incremental increases. So, end of the day, I think overall number of hides exchanging hands. We didn't clear our harvest this week, although the prices were trended higher. Talking about the harvest, this week it came in at 665. That compares to 667 last week and 666 a year ago. Right now, we're about 3.4% or 1,072,000 behind last year. That's all COVID related from earlier this year when Packers had issues with employees getting to work because they had COVID. So the killed numbers went all the way down, well below levels of a year ago, and we've just never caught back up. Even though we're knocking some big numbers, you can see it's not any better than last year. So the export report this week, again, a little bit of an encrypted message. Wet salted sales of 337. However, there were sales for 2021 of 87,000. Wet blue sales not nearly as big as last week. 90. We'll call it 100,000. It's close enough. Nothing sold for 2021. The big news again is shipments. The shipments of wet salted hides, they totaled a whopping 368,300. That's kind of a tongue-in-cheek whopping comment. Again, not shipping enough. Wet blue exports were 105,000. So here we go. Same problem. We're not shipping enough hides. FYI, last 6 weeks, we have shipped 900,000 less hides than what we have produced. It's a huge problem. There's not enough containers. You got problems with the railroad getting containers to the port. You have no room on ships. There's a lot of issues going on for some of these guys that are trying to sell hides and get them shipped. Take a quick peek around the world. Our friends in Australia, their market remains very firm. They continue, like the U.S. market, to push prices higher. They're meeting some resistance, but by golly, they're not taking any less. So sales concluded steady to slightly higher. Depending on the selection, it seems like the feedlot type cattle is drawing a little bit more interest. And, they're also, something to keep an eye on in Australia is the political tensions going on between those two countries right now. And hides have not been having any repercussions to them as of yet. There's been a lot of egg products that have, but we'll keep an eye on that for you and keep you posted. In Europe, similar story. Everybody's well sold. If you are in the area affected by Brexit, that's a huge deal going on right now. That's got to come to a head before the end of this month. A lot of speculation that's going to add at least €1, maybe more, to shipping hides. Who's going to pay for that? That has yet to be decided, but they do agree that shipping costs are going to go higher. That's going to have to get sorted out. That said, nobody's taken any less for hides this week. probably a little bit higher as far as trading levels. Most of that is a fluctuation of the currency because the dollar remains under pressure. But overall, similar situation you've seen in the States and down in Australia. And last but not least, down in Brazil, things are looking very firm down there too. The fresh hide prices are drifting higher. Wet blue prices drifting higher. Not as high. The buyers aren't paying as much as folks are asking. They're slightly under, but again, no one's being bashful on their asking prices down there. So it's a very firm market globally. Looking ahead here, keep in mind next week is going to be our last full week of production before the Christmas holidays. Everybody's going to start getting in that Christmas mode, kind of starting to slow down a little bit. I seem to think, we're going to have additional issues coming with shipping, especially in the States. Chinese New Year's rolling up. You're not going to be able to ship hides to China. You won't be able to ship hides to Mexico. That said, you can't move hides. You're still knocking big numbers like this. You could take $5 off a hide right now. That doesn't produce empty containers. So I'm not trying to beat up the market right now. It is obviously well above pre-COVID levels. But I think because of all these shipping issues, those that have money able to get power, i.e. equipment or containers in, between now and probably the first, say, 7-10 days of January, may be able to negotiate prices. That's it for now. Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy. Check out my website, www.themaxfieldreport.com. See what it's all about. I'll offer you a free 14-day trial. Don't even require a credit card on that. That's all for next week. Thanks.